There comes a moment in every life when the old way of being no longer fits the person you are becoming. It may arrive quietly through a feeling of restlessness, or loudly through heartbreak, a failure, or loss. But that moment is not meant to break you. It is meant to wake you up. Reinvention does not begin someday in the future. It begins the instant you decide that your life is worth changing. Reinventing your life starts with a powerful truth. You are not stuck. You are not behind. You are not too late. Wherever you are right now is simply the starting point of your next chapter. The stories you have told yourself about why you cannot change are not facts. They are habits of thought, and habits can be rewritten. The first step is honesty. Look at your life without judgment and ask yourself what no longer serves you. The job that drains your spirit, the relationship that shrinks your voice, the fear that keeps you small. You cannot heal what you refuse to face. When you speak the truth to yourself, you take your power back. Reinvention also requires release. You must let go of who you thought you had to be in order to become who you truly are. Holding on to the past does not protect you. It weighs you down. Forgive yourself for the choices you made when you did not know better. Thank those experiences for the lessons they gave you, and then allow them to stay where they belong, behind you. Understand this deeply. Your past may explain you, but it does not define you. You are not your mistakes. You are not your wounds. You are the wisdom you gained by surviving them. Every challenge you faced was preparing you for a stronger version of yourself. Reinventing your life demands courage, not the loud kind, but the quiet courage to show up every day and make better choices. Courage to say no when something feels wrong. Courage to say yes when something scares you. Confidence will come later. Action comes first. Gratitude plays a powerful role in transformation. When you appreciate where you are, you gain clarity about where you are going. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is possible. It opens your heart and sharpens your vision. And finally, remember this. You do not need permission to start over. You do not need approval. You do not need the perfect plan. All you need is the decision to begin. One small choice today can change the direction of your entire life. Reinvent yourself, not because you failed, but because you are growing. Not because you are broken, but because you are brave enough to believe that more is possible. Starting today, choose yourself. Choose growth. Choose the life that has been waiting for you all along. Your life changes the moment you decide you are worthy of more. That decision is not loud or dramatic. It does not require permission or applause. It begins quietly inside you. It begins when you stop believing that you must settle. Many people wait for circumstances to change before they change themselves. But real transformation starts the instant you recognize your own value. When you decide that your dreams matter. When you decide that your peace matters. When you decide that you matter. Most people do not fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because deep down they believe they do not deserve better. They carry invisible limits shaped by past disappointments, childhood wounds, rejection, fear of judgment. These limits become stories. Stories like this is just how life is. This is all I can get. This is all I am good for. The moment you decide you are worthy of more, those stories begin to lose their power. Worthiness is not something you earn. It is something you accept. You do not become worthy after success. You become successful after you accept your worth. The decision to believe in yourself changes how you think, how you speak, how you choose. You stop chasing what drains you. You stop explaining yourself to people who cannot see your value. You start protecting your time, your energy, your vision. When you decide you are worthy of more, you stop tolerating what hurts you. You stop staying in places that silence you. You stop shrinking so others can feel comfortable. This decision creates boundaries, and boundaries are not walls. They are doors that only allow in what respects you. That single decision reshapes your relationships, your work, your future. This choice also changes how you see failure. Instead of proof that you are not enough, failure becomes feedback. It becomes guidance. You stop taking setbacks personally. You stop quitting on yourself. You understand that falling does not disqualify you. It prepares you. Every lesson becomes a stepping stone instead of a stopping point. Deciding you are worthy of more also means taking responsibility for your life, not blame. Responsibility, you stop waiting for rescue. You stop blaming the past. You realize that while you may not control everything that happened to you, you do control what happens next. That realization is power. That is the moment you step into leadership over your own life. This decision will challenge you because when you choose more for yourself, you must leave behind what feels familiar. Growth requires discomfort. You may outgrow people, habits, dreams that once fit you. This does not mean you are wrong. It means you are evolving. Choosing your worth means choosing growth even when it feels lonely. Over time, this decision becomes visible in how you walk, in how you speak, in how you carry yourself. Confidence grows from alignment, from living in truth, from honoring your inner voice. Others may not understand your change, but they will feel it because self-belief creates a presence that cannot be ignored. Your life does not change because the world changes. Your life changes because you do. The moment you decide you are worthy of more, you give yourself permission to rise, to dream again, to start again. That moment is not someday. It is now. Reinvention begins with telling yourself the truth. Not the polite truth you share with others, not the comfortable truth you repeat to survive, but the honest truth that lives quietly inside you and waits to be acknowledged. This truth is not always easy to face. It asks you to look at your life as it really is, not as you wish it were, not as you pretend it is, but as it stands today. Many people delay change because they avoid truth. They stay busy. They stay distracted. They stay hopeful that things will magically improve. But nothing truly changes until you are willing to say, this is not working, that this job is draining me, this relationship is hurting me, this habit is holding me back. Telling yourself the truth is an act of courage because once you see clearly, you can no longer pretend. Truth has power. It breaks denial. It removes excuses. It exposes patterns that keep repeating. When you finally admit what you feel, what you want, and what you fear, you stop living on autopilot. You begin to live consciously. Awareness is the first step to transformation. Without it, reinvention is impossible. Telling yourself the truth does not mean criticizing yourself. It means observing yourself with compassion. It means asking why you keep choosing what no longer serves you, why you keep settling, why you keep postponing your happiness. These questions are not meant to shame you. They are meant to free you. Often the hardest truth to admit is that you are afraid of change, afraid of failure, afraid of success, afraid of being seen. Fear hides behind comfort. It disguises itself as logic, as responsibility, as waiting for the right time. But when you tell yourself the truth, you see fear for what it is, and fear loses its control. Truth also asks you to take ownership. You may not be responsible for what happened to you, but you are responsible for how you respond now. Reinvention begins when you stop saying this is just how I am, and start saying this is who I choose to become. Shift is everything. Being truthful with yourself may bring discomfort. You may realize that some dreams you chased were never truly yours, that some relationships were built on approval rather than love, that some goals were driven by fear instead of passion. This realization can feel painful, but pain that brings clarity is a gift because it points you toward alignment. When you tell yourself the truth, you also discover your deepest desires. Not the ones shaped by society, but the ones that light you up, the ones that feel like home. These desires are clues. They guide your reinvention. They show you where your energy belongs. Truth creates integrity. When your actions match your inner voice, you feel grounded, you feel confident, you feel whole. This alignment becomes your strength. People sense it, opportunities respond to it. Life begins to move with you instead of against you. Reinvention is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to who you really are. And that journey always starts with honesty, with the willingness to face yourself without masks, without excuses, without fear. When you tell yourself the truth, you reclaim your power. You stop living a life that looks acceptable and start building a life that feels authentic. That moment of honesty may be quiet, but it is revolutionary, because from that moment on, every choice you make comes from awareness, and awareness changes everything. Letting go is not loss, it is freedom. Many people believe that holding on keeps them safe. They believe that if they release the past, they will lose a part of themselves. But the truth is that what you cling to often controls you. What you refuse to release slowly becomes a weight on your spirit. Letting go is not about giving up. It is about making space for something better. We hold on to memories that hurt us. We hold on to people who no longer see us. We hold on to versions of ourselves that no longer exist. We tell ourselves that holding on means loyalty or strength, but often it means fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of starting again, fear of being alone with our own thoughts. Letting go requires bravery because it asks you to trust life again. The past has a powerful grip because it feels familiar. Even pain can feel familiar. Even disappointment can feel predictable. But familiarity is not the same as happiness. You can survive in familiar pain for years without realizing that you deserve peace. Letting go breaks that cycle. It interrupts patterns that keep repeating. It gives you a chance to choose differently. Letting go does not erase what happened. It does not deny the love you felt or the effort you gave. It simply means you stop carrying the burden of what no longer serves you. You stop replaying moments that cannot be changed. You stop hoping for closure from people who cannot give it. You give yourself permission to move forward without guilt. Many people confuse letting go with weakness. They think walking away means failure. But there is strength in choosing yourself. There is power in saying this no longer aligns with who I am becoming. Growth often demands separation. You cannot step into a new life while dragging pieces of the old one behind you. Letting go also teaches you self-respect. It shows you that your peace matters more than proving a point, that the future matters more than reliving the past. When you let go, you reclaim your energy. You stop leaking it into places that drain you. You begin to feel lighter, clearer, more present. There is freedom in releasing expectations. Expectations of how people should treat you, expectations of how life should unfold. When you release expectations, you reduce suffering. You allow life to surprise you. You allow yourself to respond instead of resist. Freedom lives in acceptance. Letting go creates space for healing, space for joy, space for new connections, space for growth. When your hands are full of the past, you cannot receive what is meant for you. Freedom comes when you open your hands and trust that what leaves makes room for what belongs. This process is not instant. Letting go happens in layers. You may release something mentally before your heart catches up. That is normal. Be patient with yourself. Healing is not linear. Each step forward matters. When you finally let go, you realize something powerful. You were never losing anything that was meant to stay. What is truly aligned will not require you to abandon yourself. Freedom is not found in control. It is found in release. Letting go is an act of self-love. It is a declaration that you choose peace over pain, growth over comfort, freedom over fear. And in that choice, you discover that you were never empty without what you released. You were simply making room to become who you were always meant to be. Your past can inform you, but it must not define you. Many people live as if their history has the final word on their future. They allow old mistakes, old failures, old wounds to shape every decision they make today. They see themselves through the lens of what went wrong instead of what is possible. But the past is a teacher, not a prison. It exists to offer lessons, not life sentences. Every experience you have lived through carries information. Pain teaches awareness. Failure teaches humility. Loss teaches resilience. But when you allow those experiences to define your identity, they begin to limit you. You stop trying because you fear repeating the past. You stop dreaming because you assume the ending is already written. That belief keeps you stuck, not your history. Your past is evidence of survival. It proves that you endured what once felt impossible. It shows that you are stronger than you realized at the time. But survival is not the finish line. It is the foundation. You are meant to build on it, not live inside it. When you define yourself by your past, you live in reaction. Every choice becomes an attempt to avoid pain rather than pursue purpose. You stay small to feel safe. You settle because it feels familiar. But growth requires vision, and vision lives in the future, not the past. There is a difference between learning and labeling. Learning says, this experience taught me something valuable. Labeling says, this experience is who I am. One expands you. The other confines you. Reinvention begins when you separate what happened from who you are. You are not your divorce. You are not your failure. You are not your trauma. You are the awareness and wisdom that came from moving through it. Holding on to past identities can be comforting. They explain why you are where you are. They protect you from risk, but they also rob you of possibility. When you say this is just how I am, you close the door to who you could become. Growth begins with a willingness to outgrow your old story. The past should guide your decisions, not control them. Use it to recognize patterns. Use it to set boundaries. Use it to choose better. But do not allow it to dictate your worth. Your worth is not measured by where you started or how many times you fell. It is measured by your willingness to rise again. Forgiveness plays a powerful role here. Forgiving yourself for what you did when you did not know better frees you from shame. Forgiving others releases you from resentment. Forgiveness does not excuse behavior. It releases the hold it has on your future. Without forgiveness, the past continues to repeat itself. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to rewrite your narrative. You are allowed to become someone your past never predicted. Reinvention means honoring where you have been while choosing where you are going. Both can exist without conflict. When you stop identifying with your past, you begin to act from intention rather than memory. You stop reacting to old wounds. You start responding from clarity. This shift changes everything. Your relationships, your goals, your confidence. The past has already done its job. It brought you here. Now your responsibility is to decide what you will do with that knowledge. Will you use it as an anchor or a compass? One keeps you stuck. The other guides you forward. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by what you choose to do next. And that choice belongs to you in this moment. Growth requires courage before confidence. Many people wait until they feel ready, until they feel fearless, until they feel certain. But confidence is not the starting point of growth. It is the result. Courage comes first. Courage is the decision to move forward even when you are unsure, even when your hands shake, even when your voice trembles. Growth begins the moment you act without guarantees. Courage is often misunderstood. It is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to face fear without letting it decide your future. Fear will always appear when you step into something new. It shows up when you try to change, when you speak your truth, when you leave what is familiar. If you wait for fear to disappear, you will wait forever. Courage is choosing action in the presence of fear. Every confident person you admire once stood where you stand now, uncertain, doubting, afraid. What separated them was not talent or luck. It was the choice to take the first step without knowing the outcome. Confidence is built through experience, through showing up, through surviving what you once thought you could not. Growth asks you to be uncomfortable, to be seen before you feel ready, to try before you feel skilled. This discomfort is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of expansion. Your comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there. Courage invites you to stretch beyond it. When you act with courage, you gather evidence. Evidence that you can handle hard things. Evidence that fear does not destroy you. Each courageous step strengthens your belief in yourself. Over time, that belief becomes confidence. Confidence is simply trust built through repeated brave actions. Waiting for confidence often hides perfectionism, the belief that you must get it right the first time. But growth is messy, involves mistakes, it involves learning. Courage allows you to be a beginner, to be imperfect, to learn as you go. Courage also requires vulnerability. You may be judged, misunderstood, rejected, but vulnerability is the price of authenticity. When you live bravely, you live honestly. And that honesty attracts opportunities that align with who you truly are. There will be moments when courage feels lonely, when people question your choices, when the old path seems easier. But growth is not about approval. It is about alignment. Courage keeps you connected to your purpose even when others do not understand it. Each time you choose courage, you rewrite your self-image. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hesitates. You start seeing yourself as someone who acts. That identity shift is powerful. It changes how you approach challenges, how you speak to yourself, how you dream. Letting go creates space for healing, space for joy, space for new connections, space for growth. When your hands are full of the past, you cannot receive what is meant for you. Freedom comes when you open your hands and trust that what leaves makes room for what belongs. This process is not instant. Letting go happens in layers. You may release something mentally before your heart catches up. That is normal. Be patient with yourself. Healing is not linear. Each step forward matters. When you finally let go, you realize something powerful. You were never losing anything that was meant to stay. What is truly aligned will not require you to abandon yourself. Freedom is not found in control. It is found in release. Letting go is an act of self-love. It is a declaration that you choose peace over pain, growth over comfort, freedom over fear. To learn from the past without living in it, to choose courage before comfort. You do not need to have everything figured out to begin. You only need the willingness to take the next honest step. Your life is not fixed. It is flexible. It responds to the decisions you make starting now. When you change how you see yourself, you change how you live. Growth happens when you stop waiting for permission and start trusting your inner voice. Every small shift in awareness creates momentum. Every brave choice builds strength. Remember that reinvention is not about becoming someone new. It is about returning to who you were before fear shaped your limits. It is about aligning your actions with your truth. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to outgrow old stories. You are allowed to choose more. Starting today, choose yourself. Choose honesty. Choose freedom. Choose courage. The life you are searching for is not ahead of you. It is created by you, one decision at a time.